recording now. Okay, that
I've
was a
added a
great
link.
announcement.
I've
Go
added a
ahead.
link. I've added a link to the documents that we'll be using, and there will be some homework documents for you. We're going to have a second session in a few weeks, and you said there's a board in there, right, where they can go and.
Yes. So actually, in that Google Doc, you're going to find that we are meeting next week, by the way. So
Oh, it's
it's going
next
to
week.
be,
That's right. Okay.
yep, it's going to be next week. So you have a week to do just some reflective practice type of work on conscious leadership. I think you're going to find it to be really helpful in your journey. On that Google Doc as well is a Padlet, the Padlet board. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Padlet, but it's one of my most favorite virtual engagement tools. All right, I see some thumbs up in the audience today.
Yay!
So hopefully it'll be to your expectations, the background for the Padlet board, but I just love doing it.
Friend, I miss you.
Oh, we miss you too. Who's this?
Last week.
Oh, I
think
think
they're
maybe,
talking.
do you mean to be on? Oh, okay, she's talking to somebody else. All right, everybody.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Let's see. Let me see if I can find.
I can,
There it is.
we can just get it muted real quick.
There
All right, there we go.
Got it.
We got it. All right, let's dive right in, Kim, shall we?
Let's do it.
We're going to take a poll right now. So I'm going to launch this poll. Now, some of the questions you're probably going to go, what does it mean? Where am I? Right? What are we talking about here? I'm here at my home. Wherever you're at. What we're talking about is, where are you in your journey on conscious leadership? Maybe you're like, I don't even know what conscious leadership is. That's why I'm here. Why are you asking me this at the beginning of the presentation? I want to answer it at the end. I know. Sometimes we do these things, okay? It's just to kind of figure out if there's obviously an interest there, right? But we also kind of want to see if people are familiar with this topic, because remember, this is going to be us facilitating a conversation. We are going to provide some content right up front because it helps to kind of frame our conversation, if you will. And then from there, we're going to invite people to contribute, because we like to hear from our audience, because all of us have lived experiences and all of us have expertise in various areas, and it's wonderful when we all can contribute. So where am I? Where are you on the journey to conscious leadership? Can I accept myself where I am? Maybe you're just learning. Are you feeling frustrated about being a conscious leader? You know, being present, right? Maybe it goes to, am I willing to shift? You know, from what you understand when it comes to conscious leadership and regular leadership roles and hierarchy and protocols and procedures, are you open to maybe shift a little bit to a conscious leadership kind of understanding? Okay, how will I shift? Well, guess what? We're really going to start operationalizing that next week. We're going to take some deep dives. We're going to get in the weeds there, if you will, and then we'll be able to kind of figure out, how am I going to really make conscious leadership something that is a practice? And you know what I'm going to ask you to do? If you do have background noise or anything, just go ahead and mute yourself for us. We don't mind you staying off mute so you can contribute quickly, but make sure you mute yourself if you've got background noise. Thank you. And maybe you're all of the above. So right now I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll, okay, and get everybody to participate in this. So here it goes. The poll is launched, Kim.
All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and take it too.
Are you? Okay, I'm going to put on a little bit of music, some mood music, you know, get everybody kind of in that space to take the poll, you know. So just go ahead and contribute. And I should be able to kind of see where everybody's at. We have, give you guys, we got 4 people voting out of 25, 6. It's going up quick, Kim.
It is going.
It's going.
Maybe I really appreciate that they're engaging in initial response and how they're feeling about this right away.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's always good to have a group of people ready to dialogue, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Where are we at? 14 people, 15, 16. We're almost at 20. Oh, Alex is in the waiting room. Let's let Alex in.
Yeah, I just let him in.
All right, welcome, Alex.
Welcome, Alex.
All right, let's see where we're at. Still at 16 people. All right, no pressure. I think that's all we're going to get. It's been staying at that steady 16 mark. So I'm going to end poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, the poll is ended. Here, let's share the results, shall we?
Mhm.
Can everybody see the results on your screen? Thumbs up if you can in the camera, so we know that you can see it. Okay, cool. Hopefully that's fun information for you to have. You can take a little picture of it if you'd like as we go through this and try to figure out, did I move from that? And how will I shift? Look at that, Kim. How will I shift? That's all about operationalizing the most abstract concepts. I think sometimes us as educational leaders, however you're showing up today in your role, it's always about the how. How do we do this, right? And
And the
guess what? We all,
flexibility, right? The
that's the
willingness for
flexibility.
flexibility. Yeah.
Yep. And everybody that is in this space has funds of knowledge. So guess what? You're going to help operationalize conscious leadership. Part 2. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here's some discussion norms because, as we're discussing some stuff, things might come up. It's important for us to hold a reflection and learning stance. So, I always say it's easier for us to talk sometimes than to listen. So let's stay in that mode of kind of listening. Be present, use your video when possible. Unless you do not want to be recorded, please take your video off. We understand. Speak your truth and respect others' truth. So try not to speak on behalf of a whole group of people because none of us can do that. Okay. So we're just going to speak our own individual truth. It makes things a lot easier. Expect non-closure. So
Yeah.
some of us that are like, how will I shift? All of those people that said that, we're so grateful you contributed, but you probably will feel a lot of non-closure today. Make sure you come back for part 2. Release yourself from perfection. This is a hard one for our perfectionists out there, Kim.
Yeah.
That's a tricky one. And then, of course, let's create some space for others to share. So if you are an extrovert, an ambivert, an introvert, whatever kind of vert you are, just make sure that you give people space to share as well. So if you find yourself taking up a lot of space, fall back. You find yourself never taking up space, get that brave. Get brave and start sharing. And then if you just, you're just not feeling like sharing, that's fine too. Contribute in chat, whatever you're comfortable with. Here's a nice little quote. Kim, you want to share this with everyone?
Sure. It helps if you remember that everyone is doing their best from their level of consciousness. Deepak Chopra. Chopra?
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Chopra.
Yeah,
And I was
you
going
did
to
it.
say, there might be some discomfort in this for some, and we are here to support all of you through that. So just know that it's normal.
Yep. Let's get to it. We're going to get into a deep dive right now. One of the biggest things about consciousness is everybody's at a different pace in their journey. So we have to be mindful of that. Everybody comes from lived experiences. Those lived experiences coupled with your education and what you think you know as truth also becomes your perspective taking. So sometimes in life when you're leading, you have to just, well, not sometimes, all the time, you got to accept people where they're at, how much they're willing to give. And sometimes as leaders, we might be overly enthusiastic to try to motivate people. We'll learn a little bit about that next week, going from good to great. We are not in the business of motivating. We create spaces for people to find motivation within themselves. But if you get into a place where you're always trying to motivate people, you will burn out. So we're going to be conscientious of that today. So here we go. What is conscious leadership? It's just about knowing yourself. Really what knows what makes you tick, what you love, what makes you happy, what you need to get your day started. That's knowing yourself. Know the people you lead. It's the same exact thing. It's all about the relationship building. So how much time do you spend building relationships, even in a virtual space? You come into a meeting, do you set aside time on your agenda for a share out? Hey, I don't care if you huddle every day. Are you spending 10 minutes of that time for a share out? How's everybody feeling today? There's simple things you could do, like a little, a level, like from construction. You could find a little level, like a little, image of a level. And you can ask people, how are you feeling today? Are you leading, lagging, or level? That's just a way for them quickly in chat for you to be able to get some perspective on how your team is doing. Okay.
So let's ask them, are you
leading? Are you level? Or are you lagging today?
Let's
Pop
hear it in the chat, please.
Let's see how you're feeling today, team. We're a team today.
We are
The conscious
a
leadership team. Level. All right.
Level, yeah. Lots of levels. Great.
That's not bad for a hump day, I have to say.
Oh, lagging.
Level
I understand
to lagging.
that.
Yeah. Lagging. I'm with you on that. Definitely.
That's tough sometimes to be lagging.
And you know what else it is too? You
Yeah.
have to understand this type of leadership. Some in some areas you're going to feel very level, and then in some areas you're going to feel like you're lagging.
And
And
it's
that
normal,
usually
right?
that is normal, Kim. You
Mhm.
have to be conscientious of your focus space. So one thing that I tell people, know yourself enough to know if you're an early riser, then make it happen and get your work done because you don't want to go to bed late. Or maybe you want to binge watch Parks and Rec. I don't know what your love is, okay? I know I like Nope, all right? And I like The Office. So that's what I like at night, all right? So, but in the morning, I get up super early. I'm on DC hours, so I get up super early, start my day. Kim knows we're talking to each other since 5 a.m.
5 a.m.
and
this morning, right? We were
5
doing
a.m.
that.
this morning.
Yeah.
And that's when I could get a lot of my work done. So just depends. Know yourself enough where you could get yourself on a good schedule. Stay out the static. Kim, what's that about?
Wow. Sometimes we have a lot of discontent going on around us. Um, it might come in the form of dissatisfied people. It might come even just an inside emotional feeling that we're having. Staying out of the static is trying to lift yourself above and remind yourself of what keeps you grounded in the presence of those extremes that are surrounding you. So we want to stay above the static and leave those below so that we can work our way through the day in the most effective and efficient manner, and one that provides support for yourself and those around you. Stay out
So
of the
good.
static.
Stay out of the static.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into it too this week in between our two sessions. You'll have an opportunity to check yourself. We call it a sister check. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Check yourself, or a sibling check. Let's just call it a sibling
Sibling
check.
check.
Okay. Yeah. We're going to be all inclusive, right? So that sibling check will help you this week as you go through. There's 2 forms that I put on that Google Doc for you to just be really reflective about it. So it's not such an abstract idea, what is conscious leadership? It drills it down more. And then that ongoing learning, what we're doing today, this ongoing learning. All right. So here we go. Knowing yourself. What is your why? We all have to know what's our why, what's our North Star, why do we do what we do? Are we just showing up for work? Is it just a part of kind of like, this is what I do, it's my practice, it's like my profession? Are we doing it because we're passionate about it and it's our work and we got to pay bills? Are we doing it because, we feel very purposeful, like tied to it? Or is it our calling? Like, oh, this is my calling. I'm in this to win it. I love this work. Whatever it is, you got to know your why. Okay. How do you show up for work are the things I just talked about. Some people are just showing up. It's a job. They're getting a paycheck. You have to know that as a leader. You got to know the people you're leading. You have to be aware that only because people have an affect that might not be something that you're used to, that's just who they are. And if they're getting their work done, then they're getting their job done. Okay. A couple of things I want to mention as I'm going through this. Just be careful not to use phrases, and this may have been used on you before in the past, but saying, you're not a good fit, we're letting you go. That can create a lot of problems, especially nowadays. Okay. Everything that's going on with the civil unrest. So we want to make sure that we're not using those types of things. We want to call it like a cultural add-on. We're bringing you into our organization because we feel like you can really add to our organization and you're an asset to us. So there's different ways to frame it and get to know the people that you're leading so they feel seen and heard and understood, especially as we're going into this new era of people being really intentional with diverse recruitment efforts and hiring people that are BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, bringing them into academia. We do have to know, how do you keep people, retain them? How do you retain them? What stops you from showing up at work? So, that could be a myriad of things, right? Especially in this virtual space, there could be a lot of things that stop you. Think about what you can control and make sure that those are in check. The things that you can't control, stop stressing yourself over it because it is what it is. Some people stress over the things that you'll never be able to control. So, whatever you can control, course correct. And those that you can't control, accept. And I'm going to say it one more time. Whatever you can control, you course correct. And what you can't control, you just accept. It's really important you do that to get to the higher consciousness. Okay,
And,
Kim.
I was going to say, Lisa, one of the things that I would like to offer in this moment that I practice myself is saying, this moment is like this, and it doesn't have to be different right now. I can allow what is here and offer what is needed and what I am able to do. So just being in that moment and realizing it doesn't have to be different in that moment can really support those efforts.
Another thing too, thank you, Kim, that's a good contribution. If you are a person that's an introvert or you have people in your team that's an introvert, please get the book Quiet. So the book is called Quiet. We'll find it and we could pop it in chat for you too. If you're familiar with it, great. If you're not, definitely read it. Okay, so we're gonna keep moving and then we're gonna need people to get ready to speak up. Being in the moment is really key when it comes to conscious leadership. We're going to talk about what that looks like, being present. Knowing yourself. This is from the Leadership Assignment book. It's also a book that I popped in your Google Docs, so you can have that. Who's the author of Quiet? I have to look, Bonnie.
I'm finding it right now. I'm going to get it for them right now and pop
You
it
can
in.
also get it on Kindle. So if you're a person that likes to multitask and has something in your ear, you can have that too. You're welcome, Bonnie. All right. So knowing yourself, here's some things that's really key. 7 things. 7 means completion, right? Being in touch with your psychological and bodily needs. Have you ever been in a position, and you probably even do this at home, where you're like, I got to go to the restroom, but I think it could wait. I really need a drink of water, but I think I'm okay. And then when you're thirsty, you're dehydrated, right? We've waited too long to drink water. So we're not even taking care of ourselves and we're trying to lead. Be able to meet those needs with assertive action. As soon as you need a drink of water, jump up and go get it. Take yourself.
That's right.
Yeah. Turn your video off and go take care of your body. You are the most important person in your life. And if you don't take care of yourself, no one else will. Coping skills, including a sense of control that enables us to ward off depression. Kim's talking about being present. Learn to say no. Also understand that you don't have to have an answer all the time. I've led a lot of teams. I've owned a couple of businesses. And you know what my employees always wanted? Answers quickly, right now. And I got empowered and I just would tell them, you know what? Thank you so much for your questions. I will have to think about that and I will get back to you. That would just shock them sometimes because I had an open door policy. So they figured open door means immediate fix. And then my rule was, what do you think my rule was, Kim? If you come in with a problem, you have to come in with 2 solutions.
That's right.
Gotta come with 2 solutions. All right. Expressing emotions, including sadness and anger, but we express them that it's appropriate, right? Because people should be able to talk about how they're feeling, not necessarily like in a work setting, but if there is some, emotions going on, we do want to create spaces for people to be able to share and talk about it. The willingness to ask for and accept support from loved ones. So this is just the 7 habits of healthy people. This is from the Leadership Assignment. If you haven't read it, it's on our Google Doc. You're going to love it. A sense of meaning and purpose in our work, daily activities, and friendships. So guess what? You matter, and what you do matters, and you have to feel connected to people, okay, that love you. So when we're talking about belonging, it's all about, Tony said this a couple of weeks ago, and I just love it. You have to belong to yourself. And that's really staying true to yourself, right? You have to belong to yourself above all things. And you can't just belong to a job. Have you ever met those people that work in somewhere for like 38 years, 47 years, and never missed a day? I have a family member that has never missed a day at the post office and has worked over 40 years in the post office. And I'm like, congratulations, So I just think sometimes, we got to be really aware of how we're sharing our space and time. Make sure that it's purposeful. And you have to have the capacity for pleasure and play. So if you do not have pleasure and play as part of your calendar, you need to put it in there this week. So we got a couple homework assignments for you. Got it? I want you to make, we do, Kim, because guess what? You're the most important person in your life. And if you don't treat yourself well, no one else will. So here's 7 habits of healthy people. Make sure that you're doing that this week. Make sure in your calendar you put focus time. Because if you're like me, I work at the national level and I have an assistant that'll pop wonderful meetings in my calendar if their space is open. So I block times, focus, block time. I even put in there this week, do nothing time. Do nothing time. Do nothing time is absolutely necessary to be able to do something. You need your mind to be empty so it can fill up with new ideas.
Okay. And
Just
these
go
are,
stare. Go ahead, Kim.
I was going to say, these are all things that we can't force, but it's an experience that we come to recognize and nurture through mindful practices. So,
Yep, absolutely. And Elaine says, I love that. I made no meeting blocks. Absolutely. You take control of your schedule. Okay, take control of your schedule and your time. Here it is. Oh, this is a good one. We're going to watch a video. I'm going to go ahead and optimize the video clip. Those of you that cannot stand watching videos during trainings, you'll appreciate this one. So just stay with us. Here we go.
Are you working from presence or the drama triangle? Brought to you by the Conscious Leadership Group. Find them on the web at www.conscious.is. Conscious leaders know the difference between working from presence and working from the drama triangle. Presence is above the line and drama is below the line. Most leaders and most organizations spend most of their time in the drama triangle. Drama is characterized by blame, wanting to be right, toxic fear, and adrenaline. Like good dramas at the movies, all drama has characters that play certain roles. The drama triangle has a hero, a villain, and a victim. The job of the hero is to seek temporary relief. The keyword is temporary. The hero is the one who gives a hungry person a fish sandwich rather than teaching them how to fish. The hero doesn't want others or themselves to feel bad, so they say and
Sorry about that.
do things that make the immediate pain go away without facing and dealing with the core issue. When I'm exhausted from overworking, I hero myself by eating and drinking mindlessly, or surfing the web, or exercising. When another feels sad, I hero them by saying things like, "It'll be okay," or "I'll do it for you." The hero seeks value by being needed by others. The second role on the drama triangle is the villain. The villain's job is to blame. I blame myself, others, or blame the group. When I blame myself, I say things like, "I shouldn't have eaten that donut," or "I should work harder," or "I messed up that presentation." When we blame others, we say, "It's your fault we didn't get that project done," or "You didn't give your best effort." When we blame a group, we say, "They messed it up for all of us," or "They just don't get it." The final role on the triangle is the role of victim. The victim is at the effect of. Life is happening to them. For the victim, a person, circumstance, or condition is doing something, or not doing something, that is causing the victim's life to be as it is. I can be at the effect of anything, including my boss, my kids, the weather, my job, the traffic, the economy, my body, and my mood. When I'm in victim, I'm feeling powerless. Every role in the drama triangle is a form of victim consciousness. And in the end, everyone is trying to prove that they are the biggest victim. When people and teams work in presence, the roles change. The victim moves from victim to being the creator. They take responsibility for their lives and stop complaining about what is happening to them. The villain becomes the challenger. Challengers bring healthy pressure to the creator to support them in facing and dealing with their lives in a way that creates a breakthrough. Unlike the villain, they don't blame or criticize. In presence, the hero becomes the coach. The coach doesn't try to fix anyone. They see everyone as fully empowered creators of their own lives and seek to support them in taking responsibility for creating the life they most want. Leaders and teams that learn to play in the creator, coach, or challenger roles of presence find they are more creative, engaged, aligned, and energized. They have more fun and get more things done. So, are you working from presence or the drama triangle?
Ooh, is that a good one or what? That was a good one. Here we are. We're back. All right.
I bet we all have one of those trophies, right? We're all
Yes.
carrying around one of those at some point in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely, Kim. And look, I put this here because I thought it was great. Start taking some inventory right now, right? Do you stay present? Are you focused on that drama triangle? Like Kim said, we're all gonna kind of ebb and flow at times, okay? But you have to be like we're going back to the 7 healthy, healthy habits. You have to be really, really motivated to help yourself, okay? You have to be willing to help yourself because nobody else will.
And that drama triangle is that static we were talking about. So when we talk about static, think about the drama triangle. It's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's keep moving on. Anybody have any contributions, any feelings about the video, anything you'd like to share that stood out? We would love to hear from you. You can take yourself off mute if you'd like. Nope. Okay. All right. Let me stop the share and I'm going to reshare really quick to make sure we got everybody going here. Sometimes when you play a video, you know, there's a little bit of issues with it. So I'm going to reshare it again. Don't worry, it is a blank screen, but it's going to be something great. The 4 agreements. Who's heard of this? Raise your hand if you've heard of the 4 agreements, because this is really good stuff. And you know, it would be wonderful if I could actually see everybody's lovely faces. Oh, all right. I see somebody has their hand raised. I can at least see
Yeah.
that. So the 4 agreements. So being impeccable with your word is absolutely necessary. So that's why it's important to pause before you respond, even if you feel under pressure. Stay present. You don't have to feel under pressure by people that you lead. Okay. You can say, I don't have an answer for you right now. I've written it down and I will get to it when I do have some time. Thank you for elevating it to me. Don't take anything personally. I absolutely do not do this. And I have often been criticized because people go, don't you know what you're doing to me? But where are they at, Kim? Are they present? Are they in the drama triangle?
They're in the drama triangle,
Yeah,
Lisa.
drama triangle.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
It's a tough place to get out of sometimes.
sure is.
Yeah.
Don't make assumptions. This is probably the most challenging thing working with teams, people that are different than us. And guess what else? On a virtual level, making assumptions. Why didn't they get the, what did they mean by that email? It was all in caps. Maybe somebody accidentally hit the all caps. Don't read into it. Okay. And then always do your best. That's really key. I don't know if anybody here is familiar with Key and Peele, but they're 2 comedians. I'll set it up as best as I can. They're 2 friends looking forward to meeting one another for drinks at a bar one night, and they're just dialoguing over text message. Well, one is misinterpreting the text to be like the guy's very nonchalant, like, yeah, we can meet if you want. The other guy on the other end, he's like, Energizer Bunny, up in the morning, really regimen, 4 a.m., military run, that kind of person. And he gets the text, we can hang out if you want. What do you mean if I want? This has been in my calendar for 3 weeks, Anyways, cut to the bar scene. The guy that's usually like really regimented and super on top of everything has totally misunderstood the text messages from his friend. And he comes in with a bat ready to hit the guy on the back of the head. And the guy at the bar has bought him a drink. Like, hey, buddy, oh, what do you got a bat for? Are we going to go, we're going to hit some balls at the cage later? And he's like, oh, no, man, I don't know why I brought the bat in. But it just goes to show you sometimes we make these assumptions. We're usually dealing with something, then we assume something, and then it turns into a much bigger issue than what it needs to be. And Kim, did you want to say something?
No, I was going to say, one of the responses that I like to share or give when I need a moment to think is, thank you for giving me a moment to think about this or some time to think about this. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
That seems to support the needs of the person who's asking and gives you some support and time to think about it. So
that's good. And then always do your best. All we can do is our best. But the biggest thing is if you're not present and you're in that drama triangle, you are not going to be able to do your best. If you're not blocking out time for yourself, do nothing time. I'm telling you, the do nothing time is so amazing. I did nothing today like 3 times and it was great. You're not going to be able to do your best because you can't get your creative energy juices flowing. You won't be able to do it. Okay. And if you're used to like eating at the computer, multitasking and all this other kind of stuff, it's going to be hard for you to do it, but it's not impossible. I used to do that too. So make sure you take care of yourself. Here we go. So know the people you lead, what's their why. It's all about building those relationships. I hope you all are getting ready because we're going to have discussions. Is everybody
we're going to start building relationships, Lisa?
We sure are, Kim.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So
it's going to be fantastic. All right. You need to know how your people show up to work. So like I said earlier, if you missed it, one simple way. Are you level? Are you leading? Or are you lagging today? Simple. Just see how they show up. Okay. What stops them from showing up? Is this person perpetually in the drama triangle? Are they always in victim mode? Are some of you guys, I feel like you're nodding. I feel like I can feel you nodding. You're like, yeah, I got one. Oh, woo, at least if you only knew I'm about to private message you.
Right?
It's hard. And part of the drama triangle too is gossip. So, I mean, that could be challenging, but find a confidant, somebody that's outside your work group, somebody that you can really trust impeccably and you can talk to about certain things. Don't let it be your boo. As soon as you start telling your boo too much stuff about work, they don't want to be with you. I'll just tell you that. That's some relationship advice. if you're sharing too much about your work life, it can be tricky.
That's presentation 3 right there.
That's presentation 3. Yeah, we talk about how to keep your boo in this virtual world. Adjust how things are done. So when people are talking about how do we shift, well, this is my thought. If the shift is necessary to retain a quality person on your team, then shift. If you're just shifting because you're people pleasing and you don't want to hear them, complain, don't shift. You have to have a real good reason. Maybe it's a system approach, a procedure, a protocol, something that's not working for several people, shift. But you have to lead with conviction. There's always going to be people that come and go. And guess what? You got to be willing to say goodbye. Okay. Let them go. Systems level approach. Always do things at a systems level approach. We know that because if you just start putting things standalone stuff and you're not looking at it in a whole systems kind of level, then you're not going to see real change happen. Look at your policies, your procedures, your practices, perspective exchanging. What I mean by that is this. Every one of us that are on this call today, we're all different people. We've had different lives. We've had different experiences. We come in with a different perspective. When someone is giving their perspective to you about what they think is the truth for their life, you're going to find some people that get so passionate about it and they could be way left. Like none of it is true what's happening. They don't have the full story. Okay. What I've learned to do as a leader is say, okay, all right, because I'm not going to engage in an argument with you. Okay. So if you tell me 2 + 2 = 10, and I go, it does? Yes. 2 + 2 = 10. And then you know what my response is going to be? Kim, what's my response going to be?
Okay.
It equals 10. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. That's my response. You know why? Because I like my sanity. Okay. So if somebody is unwilling to get some perspective and exchange my perspective with their perspective, it's called meeting of the minds. Guess what? We're never going to get to the place of like-mindedness. We'll never be able to co-create. We can't do innovative things together. Recognize it. Only because people are brilliant doesn't mean they're thought partners. Only because people are amazing and have PhDs doesn't mean they're the best co-creators. Stop thinking that just all those letters make them the best candidate. No, the best candidate's the best candidate. When you can't even get in the space and talk to people, like my dad used to say, he's a Southern boy. He still says it. If you can't shake my hand and look me in the eye, I don't want to have nothing to do with you. That's pretty much what he says. So that's a virtual handshake is we can hop in a space, get to know each other, and we have to have this exchange. If we can't even have that kind of exchange, how are we going to work together? And I'm not talking about match my enthusiasm. I'm talking about match my energy. It's a different thing. Ooh, Kim, did you get it?
I got
Match
it.
my enthusiasm.
Got it.
It's not about that. It's about matching energy. Okay. Support the shift. This is my favorite part. That's why I made it big. Support the shift or exit of individuals you lead that stay in the static or in the drama triangle. Why would you try to retain somebody that lives in that drama triangle? We do it all the time as leaders, don't we? We try to just keep everybody. Don't keep everybody. Not everybody's meant to stay. Some people actually are meant to go. Projects have timelines, stopping points, starting points. Okay. Be aware of that. When it's time for someone to exit, say bye. Let them go to their next place. It doesn't always have to be dramatic. Anybody here have a teenager in the house? I've had a couple. Now they're adults, and we got our second set. So yes. Woo! Okay, so I have teenagers in the house. All right. And guess what happens with the teenager? A lot. They start thinking they know everything, right? They start thinking you know nothing. And guess what? We don't have an energy match. So now you have to go. You will find your way in this world. I have prepared you as much as I can. Now it is your time to leave. Hopefully, you will see that you got some great support. You got to kind of look at it the same way when you're leading people. Not like they're your babies or children. You can't treat them like family, but you have to understand that there are seasons, things change, and it's not always a good fit to keep everybody on a project. So to stay innovative and for us to really reimagine education and be just like movers and shakers and real agents of change, we have to be willing to say goodbye to people. Not everybody should be on projects. You ever met a board of a nonprofit and somebody's been the chair for 35 years and they wonder why they can't get anybody to come to their church? Oops, I said it. All right, let's get to the next slide. So,
can I read something? Tony just said, and it's not necessary to exchange energy. And that is so true. You're in the space, you're meeting energy, but you don't have to exchange energy. We're here to
True.
support each other, share that space, and allow each other to be where we are in that moment. Again, we don't have to change the moment. We can be in it. So,
and we're going to talk about equanimity, which is talking about not feeling the need to have to change the moment, staying measured and stress-free and calm in the most craziest situations. It is a practice. Ongoing learning. So, self-reflective practices on a continuum. You have to be committed to that. You have to be committed to grow out of your discomfort. So you have to see everything as an opportunity to be your teacher, if you will, or a lesson in your life, rather than, oh, why is this happening to me? Remember, we want to stay present. We don't want to be in that drama triangle, right? We want to reach that conscious level. Practice equanimity. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to take more of a dive into that next week, but equanimity is a Buddhist teaching, and it's all about being able to be very measured and stress-free. It's a practice like mindfulness and meditation. It's intentional, very deliberate. And the more you practice, the better you get. Okay. And you know what I tell my 8-year-old daughter when she's about to like lose it? She's like, oh, the TV's not working. Who knows? The drama in my baby's life, right? I'll say, Lulu, here's an opportunity for you to show up different. She's like, I don't want to show up different. She'll even do her teeth like that. But the moment she wants to show up different, she'll say it. I want to show up different. I want to do it. Take a deep breath. Put your hand on your stomach. Put your hand on your heart. Go outside. Okay. Let's have some communion with nature right now. How you feeling, Lulu? Better. All right, Lulu, you're showing up different. Taking control over those big emotions. We have to tell ourselves that too, right? It's just like kind of reworking our mind, especially when we're stressed and we're trying to manage. You have to take that time for yourself to get I call it just a nice little reset. I would just imagine you had a reset button. You could push it, reset, Control Alt Delete. That used to be my favorite when my computer would crash. Control Alt Delete. It's all gone. I can start over. That's how you have to think about it.
Does that work anymore? I don't know.
It does. I did it last night.
Lisa, what you're saying, I so appreciate and love. I think, when we can think outside that formal approach and really orient our hearts toward the experience that we're having, by simply bringing in our mindful intentions and that equanimity that you're talking about, that we're about to go in. And I so appreciate you speaking on this.
Yeah. Thank you, Kim. When we're talking about equanimity, another key piece is this. Most people that we need reassurance. They need reassurance. That's a very early stage of leadership. If you have to constantly reassure your team that what they're doing is correct, their innovation, the way that they're thinking is right, there's maybe a little bit of there might be kind of what I call a crack in their process. If they haven't gotten to the point where things start to resonate with them, where they're like, oh, I know what I'm doing is correct. I know what I'm doing makes sense. And I don't have to ask so many questions. Asking questions is fine, but just be aware if you've had someone on your team for a while and they still don't have clarity about what's going on, you got to think to yourself, am I not clear? Am I not putting in writing? Do they need a flow chart? How does this person learn? A lot of times, if we've been in a leadership role, we'll just tell somebody something, and maybe it is captured a policy or procedure, but a lot of times those policies and procedures are hard for people to really understand the concept, conceptualize it, okay? So flow charts help. So if you're a person that's not committed to flow charts, but you have a lot of like different checkpoints, how like just something simple gets approved, a flow chart is going to help save your team, just so you know. And I've got great templates for flow charts too, to kind of help with the management piece. How's everybody doing? Who's got some questions? Anybody want to contribute right now? We're almost done with the slides. Then we're all going to be in gallery mode and we're all going to talk. You see, I keep getting you ready. We are all going to enjoy our time together sharing.
We are.
Yeah, we are. We are.
Absolutely.
I like this. And so I'm going to share it with you all because I think this kind of sums up for me equanimity in this, when we're talking about conscious leadership. If your mind becomes firm like a rock and no longer shakes, ooh, so you're not double-minded. So you're working out of conviction. So you know what you're doing is right. Your yes is yes, your no is no. Now we're leading, baby. In a world where everything is shaking, right? How do I stay present in an absent world? Mindfulness, equanimity. I'm not doing anything right now, block of time, okay? Your mind will be your greatest friend. Guess what? We're spending most of our time in our mind, so it better be a friendly place. So if you're a person that doesn't do affirmations, start it. If you're like, I don't believe in all that stuff, trust me. Start with the daily affirmation. I do it with my 8-year-old. Lulu will get right here and tell you, I'm beautiful, I'm smart, I'm brilliant. Like, yes, baby, you are. She gets up in the morning in her bedroom, looking in the mirror, telling herself all that stuff. Start telling yourself that, okay? And suffering will not come your way. Suffering in the sense of what we think suffering is, below that, in the static, the drama triangle, the victimization piece, where we're not creative, we're not coaching, we're not leading. I mean, we're sinking. We're not even lagging. We're just sinking as a leader. You have to make sure that you take care of yourself and you lead with conviction, because people will challenge you. Even people that are on your team that you think are for you, not everybody is a confidant, you guys. Some people are just in it, they're constituents. Some people are just anarchists. They just want to fight the enemy, whoever the enemy is. I don't know. The big education mean monsters that make all the decisions on policy. We hate them. And they're with you until that fight's over, okay? And then they go to the next one. So it's important to belong to yourself and stay very present so you are effective when you lead. And here's how we cultivate equanimity: mindfulness, meditation, do nothing, the power of quiet. It's wonderful. It's a great feeling. You have to play, okay? And then grow self-care. So start with gratitude. So if you're a person that's into like journaling, go for it. There's an app called My Wonderful Days. It's free. You can capture your gratitude that way. There's another app just called Breathe that helps with meditation. There's another one, and I could pop this on the Google Doc for you all too, so you can have it. But there's another app too that helps you finding gratitude throughout your day. So if you're a person that's like, I don't have anything to be grateful for right now. It's COVID. I've had somebody die in my family. I'm stressed out. My team sucks. I don't get paid enough money for this. Who knows what it is? My boo ain't looking good anymore. He's just let himself go since COVID. Get him some grace. But start with gratitude. Yeah, you know what though? Gratitude is powerful because it leads to happiness. You get up saying, thank you for my eyesight. Thank you that I can breathe. Thank you for the home I live in. Thank you for food. Before you know, you're so grateful, you forgot what you were mad about. You forget. Sometimes Andre, my partner, he'll walk by. I'll look at him kind of irritated. He'll come back. 5 minutes later, what'd you need, babe? I said, you better be happy I'm living in gratitude because I forgot. I'm okay with you now, Andre. Keep a daily routine. That's important. Keep a routine. Stay goal oriented. Okay. Have you guys heard of SMART goals? You've all heard of SMART goals? Have you heard of SMARTY goals? Oh, dropping bombs. SMARTY goals is IE at the end, and it stands for inclusion and equity. Oh, and I will pop that in our Google Doc. Don't you worry. Yeah. I'll pop that in. And then commit to the work. Okay. So look, guess what? If you got team members that can't even commit to the work, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Can't even get to work. It's going to be a challenge. All right. Practicing humanity. Seems so easy. Look at that. Work on kindness every day. Work on kindness for yourself. Work on kindness for others. And you're going to get to that place. All right. I'll definitely put that in the Google Doc. I'll put in the meditation apps, and I'll pop in the Smarty goals. Oh, you know what else I'll put in there, Kim?
What?
I'll put in this, you guys might have seen it, but it's a wonderful TED Talk, and it's all about gratitude leads to happiness.
Yes.
Seen that one? Most people,
Yes.
I'm gonna pop it in anyway.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
I need to see that. Tony,
Yeah.
Tony says, Smarty goals, learn something new, equity and inclusion. Love it.
You're gonna love it. This is what's coming up next week. Here's our teaser before we get into our conversation that we're all gonna be super engaged with in a minute. But so we're gonna focus on operationalizing conscious leadership. How do I become a conscious leader? We're gonna be picking things from John Maxwell. Woo woo. We're going to be picking things from the conscious leadership, okay, the 15 commitments. That's also the website that we shared earlier with the drama triangle. You're going to get familiar with that because you got 2 worksheets that I want you to review.
I'm dropping it in again.
Drop it
Dr.
in.
Catherine asked for it.
Perfecto.
Dropping it in.
Yep. And just keep it a live link so that way when I share it, you know, you guys will, when I put on these new ones, you'll get all the new links. Oh, Kim, can you pop in our email addresses too so people can contact us?
Absolutely.
That'd be great, Kim. She's so wonderful. Schools That Learn, the 5th discipline. If you guys haven't seen this is amazing. And Good to Great. We're going to talk about that too. So we're going to be lifting things from these 4 books, really. And that's going to be next week, the 13th. We're going to dive into it, 4:30 to 6. That's the end of the PowerPoint. And now it's all about us talking. Who's got some questions? Maybe you're like, I've got something you talk about, I need some advice on. I don't know what's going on. Private message me if you want to do that, or bring it out to the group. So who would like to share their experience with conscious leadership? Maybe something that stood out to you today that you feel like that's something you can really utilize in your work. Elaborate. What's a key, something like a key message that kind of stood out today for you? Any of those things. And we open up the space. You can either raise your hand or you can unmute yourself. Go for it. Thank you, Linda.
It's Alex here.
Hi, Alex.
I'll take a shot. Well, thank you so much for self-presenting today. This is very cool. You know, one thing that stuck out to me is I was thinking about how much emotional energy I invest to get out of the drama triangle or to lead teams out of that space. So I don't know if that's a question per se, but just an observation of something that I'm reflecting on, of like how much this year it's been tough, and just real interested in that piece and strategies and ways to keep myself emotionally centered as I'm often trying to work with multiple teams to get out of that space.
Yeah, that's really good. So Alex, thank you so much for that. Tell me a little bit about your role.
You know, my role is oftentimes to help folks realize their goals through investments and projects, and to help in its best form to remove barriers to whatever those strategies are trying to achieve. And so I work with different teams, and just in this environment, it's been, you know, challenging and emotionally very difficult to be in that space so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's really good. I'm going to pop in there the Smarty goals too, because maybe with your work and, in fact, the organization that puts out the Smarty goals, Center for something management, it left my brain, but don't worry, I'll pop it in. But let me tell you something, Alex, that you're going to like about that. It's all free. Okay. And don't we like that? Because when it's free, it's great. So I think this is something that could help the people that you're working with take some responsibility and say, okay, I'm going to take a goal. Because you know what's hard for people is to take concepts or ideas and to now operationalize it. Like, how do I conceptualize this and operationalize it and make this make sense? Well, the Smarty goals makes people show up, and we want to build capacity with people to do that on themselves. You right? We don't want to have to work with people to the point where they don't even know how to do anything, because then what happens is you become the person operationalizing all of it, you become more than their thought partner. You're the creator, and they're just expecting you to do all of it. And it sounds like too, you seem like a very nice person, you know, even how you present yourself, that you're very open and welcoming. And that's, look, that can sometimes just open you up for a whole bunch of drama because people just want to share, share, share. So we'll talk about how do you boundary set with people? How do you make sure that your time is valued and not abused? Okay, so we'll get into that. That book by John Maxwell, the 5 Levels of Leadership, dynamic book. It goes way into like the 5th, almost like the 5th level, talking about setting really good boundaries for your team and making sure people understand your expectations too. So that's really, really key.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Lisa, you know, if I can add, Alex,
Go for it.
when we look at conscious leadership, one of the most important components of conscious leadership is understanding who we are as leaders. So that self-reflective piece is key. And if you can really engage in that type of growth, it's the way you can change the way you're leading your team is phenomenal. So some of the things you might want to start looking at yourself as a leader and asking yourself, when I'm approaching my team, talk to yourself in this way. May I bear witness to things just as they are, rather than feeling like I have to change everything. May I remain peaceful and let go of the fixation that I might have, again, in trying to change everything. May I offer care without hesitation, knowing I may be met with gratitude, anger, or resistance. So knowing yourself and how you're going to and there's so many more. I can have Lisa add them too, but these are really, really important questions that we have to ask ourselves as leaders before we go engage with our team. We have to know how we're going to respond to this, where we can be flexible, where we can meet them, and what it is that we're looking to bring to the table for them if we're going to ask them to bring to the table for us. So I can have her add. That self-reflective piece is key.
Thank you so much, Kim. She's so brilliant. Let me give her another look at this. Let me give her another little love. My gosh.
Thanks, Lisa.
She's so brilliant. But you know, this is the thing too. What I like what Kim is talking about, because this is something that it's hard for leaders that lead vulnerable. We lead in love. We don't want people to feel like that we don't have their back. We have to move people from assurance to resonance. They have to be, things have to be able to resonate with them. And if they're not growing within themselves, we have to figure out a way to move them somewhere else, out of our space. Because if it's taking too much time, you're not going to be good at your job. Now, this is another thing too. You have to have a limit for people. Mine is 6 months. So when I start with my team, I give them 6 months. Everybody gets 6 months. I don't care what we're doing. We could be building a building. You get 6 months. Everybody is 6 months. I don't care how you come, but baby, you're getting 6 months. Because within 6 months, I'm going to get to know you. I'm going to get to know everything about you. And I'm going to get to know if you're open enough, you're candid, and you're caring about yourself, you can open up with me and we can figure out what you need to show up for work. But guess what? Sometimes it's just not meant for that person to be on a project. It's not meant for that person to be on your team. And it doesn't have to be like a high school breakup. I hate you. I hate you too. We don't have to get to that point. It could just be like, you know what, boo, it ain't working. But we say it professionally. Okay. Who else wants to contribute? This is fun. I'm happy that we have this team.
I see Elaine has her hand up there. And then Tony, I think Tony would like to contribute too. Great.
All right. Who's going first, Kim?
Elaine, come on, Elaine, let's hear from you.
Oh, hi. I thought I saw, it looks like Dr. Lori's hand was up before me. I don't
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it.
No,
Dr. Lori, go for it.
Dr. Cowell, sorry.
sorry, no, that's just what I have to put on my Zoom. I'm sorry. So Lori's fine. That's what I'm it just occurs to me about how we intuitive sometimes know these things about taking care of ourselves and leading with compassion, but it's not always a leadership style that's respected. Even in education, when we choose to anoint ourselves the enlightened ones, I'm a lot older than I look. And I've been around in my current district and others for 30 years. And Alex and I, and so Alex, Amrita, who else do I work with? This is Vegas rules here. So we happen to work with the same vice president who does encourage us to lead in many of the ways that you're suggesting, right? But if I think about the outside world, what I see in education, that type of leadership is not always respected. And so
Not at all.
right. And so what we need to do is really bring respect to the humanity of leadership and because I've been around a while, I've learned a lot of this by trial by fire, and just where I'm getting comfortable with who I am and what I stand for, and also operating with compassion and understanding where people are at and their limitations and trying to pull them forward in the most humane way possible. But as educators, and I don't know who the audience is totally for this, we really need to learn to respect this type of leadership and not that traditional leadership that some of us came up under, where you didn't miss work. I don't care, how you felt. I had a grandmother who immigrated from the South, beautiful 6-foot tall woman who worked in the Naval Hospital in San Francisco for over 25, 30 years and never had a sick day. I saw the award she got, and I don't know how she did that. And so I just want us to begin to promote and respect this type of leadership in whatever ways we can. And when we have those who lead over us and they lead in this way, to really give them some props for that, because it is not a popular way of leadership in education.
No, it's not. You're absolutely right. And I think right now I want to segue really quick before we go to Elena, to Tony. Tony, what do you want to say?
Well, Dr. Lori, you are reading my mind. So I want to say, Lisa, Dr. Lori, I think Lori is right. I was just going to say that it's the humanity piece, right? That we really are talking about. And there's a reason why JSPAC has been really driving this humanity forward approach back into education, which is ridiculous that you'd have to say that, back into education, right? But in reality, it was never put into education from the structural report and the ordinance in the first place. But I wanted to touch on one of the things, like I think the thinking behind. I love when Alex was talking about it's a challenge, right? His energy is going towards. But I wanted to say that Alex is an amazing, beautiful person, his disposition, and he's a listener, which is so important in great leaders, is listening. But I wanted to add, like, part of this leadership, this conscious leadership in humanity is you got to really be okay. Like Dr. Lori said, you really have to be in acceptance to be okay with what was conditioned in your mind, that everybody doesn't have to like you. Everybody doesn't have to be on your team. Everybody is not going to exchange the same energy and let go of the energy. And that is like so hard, because that is what has been conditioned from the moment you step into, not only in your family, but from the moment in education. That's kind of how education kind of drives things, right? It drives it in that way that it's my team, right? And my team, and I need to please my team. And oftentimes you don't get to pick your team. So I wanted to add that too, is like, you inherit a team. And I know Alex inherits teams. I know exactly what he does. He's inherited the many different teams that he's trying to work with. And so it goes back to, I guess, that number one thing. You really have to be okay and belong to yourself.
Yes, belong to yourself.
The bottom line is really, I think it's just that, because you're going to inherit a team. Even like Lisa said, I love how Lisa's just like, I give you 6 months. But you can't give someone 6 months if you inherit a team, right? So
I've done that before though too. I've inherited a team, and I told everybody
I could totally see you do what I'm saying, but it comes down to you, right? Ultimately, that team comes down to you saying, I'm no longer going to accept that energy, and I'm not going to exchange that energy, even though I know we have other things to do, because there's other team members that have strengths, and the exchange of that energy and match, that you're able to use that. But it's so hard to see that when you are in the trenches of the work. So which goes back to that self-care, the do nothing and literally do nothing. I love that Lisa said that. Not schedule no meetings, right? No meetings is one thing, but schedule do nothing
Mhm.
and do
Yeah.
Schedule
nothing.
do nothing.
Love
Yeah,
it.
and schedule your focus time. So another thing on my calendar is focus time. My team knows, oh, Lisa's in focus time. You guys, I pray to God nothing's on fire or your legs not falling off. But if you're trying to ping me in my focus time, we're gonna have some problems because I need to focus.
And
And
you need to know what your focus time is. Like
yes,
I just figured that out this year in the pandemic. So my focus time, which is my creativity time and focus.
Yep.
For me, it literally is 3 o'clock in the morning. I just
Yep.
takes about 3 to like 6. I'm not bothered. When I really
Yep.
need to focus and be creative, it's during that space. So it doesn't have to be within that 8 to 5 as well. I wanted to say that. So your space and your time, I mean, I wouldn't say 3 o'clock, but it is for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you know what? This is the thing. I read an article and it was really powerful. And it was talking about the importance of acknowledging focus time. Because if you're a person, and I'm just going to tell you this, and then you can start thinking, I got to really get down my focus time because this is serious. This is conscious leadership 101. If throughout the day it takes you longer than an hour to do one task because you're going back and forth, and you're like, damn, what email? Wait a minute, what? You want to eat? Figure it out, you know? So if that's you some days or most days, you don't know your focus time. So you better figure out your focus time. And if you're like, look, I got kids, I don't want to get up any earlier. Listen, you want a job? You want to lead? You want to be a conscious leader? Get up earlier. Get up earlier because then you won't have any distractions. I'm telling you, you'll thank yourself a million times that day because you're going to be so productive. By the time 8 o'clock hits, 8 a.m., you're going to be like, what? I just finished like everything for the day. I could do nothing for a while. I could do nothing for a while.
And Lisa's for real. Both of us practice this every single day.
Every
we both
day.
have children, and we get like I said, or like she said earlier, we're talking at 5 o'clock this morning.
Yes,
I'm right
get up.
with you guys. I'm on the
Yeah.
same theme. People
Yeah.
wonder,
Yeah.
like, how are you doing a hike? How are you working out? Because I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah. Elaine, we haven't forgotten about you though.
We
Kim, we got to
haven't.
get Elaine.
Yeah, let's get Elaine.
Elaine,
Come on,
you're
Elaine,
up.
let's hear from you.
Welcome to the stage, Elaine. Share with us.
Now I feel pressure. No, this is fantastic and I appreciate it. And I mean, I feel like half of what I was going to ask has already kind of been addressed. So it kind of goes back to, so I took on a leadership position. So yes, I inherited teams and, you know, in certain education, there is no letting go of people. And when I didn't have any, you know, and when I started, I didn't have mentoring. So I really, you know, now I'm kind of in this place of going, how do you reset? So, you know, I had all this, I was sort of handed this, I did things the best that I could. And now, you know, after 5 years, I'm kind of going, you know, how do I be a better leader with the imperfections and the systems and the things that I've kind of set up while still working with some of the same people. So for me, I'm reading all this stuff and I'm going, well, this is fantastic, but how do I make that shift? And, you know, I noticed that I've sort of I've definitely gone into maybe the victim, like in that drama, right? So where I work is very drama driven. And so I found myself in those areas, but that's not the authentic me. That's not who I want to be. And so how do you sort of lift yourself out of that after you've been there?
That's
Can
a
I
great
answer
question.
that with one sentence?
Okay, go ahead.
One sentence, seriously. Respond rather than react.
Yeah. But that takes equanimity, which
Yes.
takes mindfulness, meditation,
Mhm.
daily practice. So really what it comes
Yes.
down to is you have to commit to yourself. So I'm going to commit to myself that I'm the most important person in the world to me because I am. My 8-year-old, who's the most important person in your life, Lulu? I am. That's what she says about herself. Yes, baby. Because if I could get her to know and understand that, guess what she's going to do the rest of her life? Take care of herself. She's going to take care of herself. We forget to take care of herself. So listen, somebody put in chat. Was it Catherine? I think Catherine put in chat about decluttering, my head. This is all great, but how do I declutter my head? That is the most challenging piece, is to get our mind to be friendly and to be really honestly, to be aligned, for our mind to be aligned with our heart, for our heart to be aligned with our ideas. That takes time. Just like how we all are people that are educated here, right? So we know that if we put some time to something, guess what happens? What happens, Kim? You put some time to something, Kim, and some effort, what happens? You get a
become
good
better.
outcome.
Yeah, you get a great outcome.
You get a great outcome. So if you just practice, because this is the thing, it's all about being intentional with your day. I'm going to get up. I'm going to practice gratitude. You know what else you're going to do? Don't keep your phone next to you on your bed. Don't sleep with your phone. You're not making love to your phone. Your phone's not going to make love to you. Put your phone away. Get it out of the bedroom. Okay. And if you go, well, I need it for an alarm clock, get an alarm clock. Well, that doesn't work, because then I want to check emails. Oh, so you have no boundaries. Don't let the first thing you do is check an email. Why would you do that? That's the last thing I do. I don't check any emails before 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I'm on DC hours. So sometimes people will be like, did you get my email? Not yet. I will. I'll look at it shortly. Oh, okay. Listen, you can wait. There is no emergency, because guess what? If there was, somebody would be doing what? Calling me. People can wait for an email response. Okay. Now you might go, well, that's just not the culture we created. Stop contributing to the culture. Take a stand. Stand up for yourself. That's social justice. People want to talk about what's fair. Is it fair for you to sit in a seat for 12 hours a day, have a jug of water next to you, drinking your water, a bar? What do you got? A little fruit bar next to you.
An energy bar.
Some nuts, and you're in your house. And you're in your house, and that is how you're functioning. I mean, come on. Take some ownership. Get out of that drama triangle. Stop being a victim. Be your life's coach. Be your best cheerleader. Get up and take control of your day and take control of your time. You're going to be a better leader.
And all of that work, that time and effort that you're putting into yourself, that value. So then you have risen above that drama triangle, and now you're with your team, and that's where I was going with that. So you've risen above it, and you're asking, how do I still work with these people that I've inherited and make some changes? When you have reached the place where you're above that triangle, that line, and you're out of that static, you naturally begin to respond rather than react. And when I say respond, you start engaging in those authentic reciprocal conversations with your team. You start hearing and allowing them to share, but you truly start hearing what's being said. You provide a space where you're there to listen rather than to speak. We hear that all the time, but really listening to hear. There's a difference in listening and listening to hear. And so once you've done these practices that Lisa's talking about, once you've worked on that intrapersonal growth, and you're giving yourself this time, you genuinely, authentically, and naturally begin to respond rather than react. That reaction is what takes us back down into the static and into that drama triangle.
And it actually is stressful, and it actually creates illness in our body to be reactive, just so you know. And practice equanimity. When you practice equanimity and to be a person that's very responsive rather than reactive, you're going to see a shift in everything that you do in your life. You're going to see a shift in everything. You're going to be like, what? I didn't just trip on the boo because he turned the TV up too loud. Like, what? The underwear on the ground, and so are the towels. You're like, let me just pick it up. I'm so grateful I got a family that I get to take care of today. You're going to start speaking gratitude into the dirty laundry. So, I mean, there is a way for you to train your brain different. And I'm telling you, if we could train our brain this way, we can train our brain the other way. We have that potential to do it. That's the beauty of the brain. Who else, Kim, wanted to contribute?
I didn't see it. Is there anyone else who would like to contribute?
I'll share.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm
Can you
Amrita.
tell us again? I'm sorry.
Amrita.
Amrita.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And I'm on the same crew as Alex and Lori over in San Diego. So it's nice to be here with them and with everyone. I guess first I'll say, I feel so lucky, grateful to be here with everyone. It's great presentation and also just wonderful to hear everyone's reflection in the chat and then on video and voice. And so much of it is really resonating with me. I when I was looking at the materials really quickly, I was like, oh, definitely don't, I'm not a victim. I don't have that mentality, what is this like hero thing? And then as you showed the video and those sub little notes, like, oh no, I like to fix things. And actually, I definitely seek value in people needing me. Like, oh shoot, like maybe I am struggling here, right? And I aspire to be out of that. But I also very much identify with some of those elements. And so I think just kind of sharing that I'm recognizing that in myself. Like I do, feel like I gain a lot of self-worth by solving problems and, fixing things and all of that. And yet I recognize that's not always what's needed. And like, how do I do that in a more positive, sustainable way? So I appreciate that. Also for me, it was really nice it's like, what people have said is that so much of this is like, oh yeah, I know that, but sometimes you really just don't know it, even though you've said it or read it. And, one of the big ones was about, letting people go and realizing that, sometimes it's not a good fit and just realizing like, oh, well, I think, as a leader, even though I know it's not true, I believe that if I'm a good leader, people are going to want to stay. And realizing, well, actually, I might have some people who should leave. And I just want them to leave, but I don't really want them to leave because I feel like a failure if they leave, right? And just like really hearing that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your contribution. So valuable. One thing about this work with conscious leadership is a community of practice always helps to bridge our work, right? So maybe that's something that will come out of this. So after next week's conversation, we could talk about it deeper because I find I lead teams through different types of stuff, a lot of it's social justice work, but all of it starts with the inside first. So it's all about that self-reflection. I spend the majority of my time leading teams, boards of organizations with the self-work. And so they come in going, no, tell us how to be a better white person. Because it's usually, I'm dealing with a lot of white fragility, right? And tell us how to talk to Black people. And then I'm like, well, if you just approach people in a humane way, and we all just practice humanity, and we all recognize that everybody needs to eat and sleep and some play and pleasure, we're all good. And we don't have to be so fixated on race, right? And so there's a place for us to get to if we can just get to the place where we see each other as human beings, first and foremost. So sometimes with this, it does help to do a community of practice, 5-6 week session together, do some readings together, and then it'll keep you kind of like accountable. Because after 21 days, we all know what happens when you do something continuously for 21 days, it becomes a habit, right? So usually my communities of practice expand 40 days. That way people are really in it, So if you've ever done anything like intermittent fasting, sometimes that intermittent fasting will really help you if you're a person that's an emotional eater and that's how you go to the drama triangle. You're like, you know what I'm about to do tonight? I'm about to binge watch and eat myself to sleep. Okay. We don't want to do that. Okay. We don't want to do that. And now, why do I know so much about it? Because I've done it. Okay. So you got to get yourself out of that. Okay. You got to get yourself out of that emotional eating piece. So if that's how you kind of cope with stuff, and sometimes it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you taking a break. But if you're doing it every day, it's going to be a habit that's going to be so hard to break. And eventually it's going to lead into more really life threatening because physical habits if you're doing that to yourself. So when I talk about like really loving yourself, I mean it. I mean, love yourself so much that if anybody leaves your life, you're still okay. And that's equanimity.
Yeah.
That is truly what that means, that you will not be participating in suffering because you're always present. So you're never feeling like you're lagging in the sense of how I'm exchanging or how I'm spending time with people because I'm present. Okay. So just make that effort to be present. Another thing is to give yourself permission for the next day. Stop your list of things. Oh, I got to send one more email. Oh my God, nothing's going to happen, you guys. None of us here are heart surgeons. No one's prepping for brain surgery tomorrow. Like, take a deep breath and exhale and just learn, to say no, or I'll get to it tomorrow. I can't meet the deadline today. That's just the way it is. Now, I will say this, because this is a little layer. If you're a person of color, and at times you kind of feel like, if I don't meet this deadline, I feel like I'm going to be scrutinized, and maybe I'm going to be let go, or whatever the case is. You might feel that you can't take a day off. No, we need to have a conversation. Okay. Because that you're not in a good work environment if that's the case, or you've tricked yourself into believing that. So then you're in that drama triangle, and you've set up no boundaries for your life. And now you need to set up some boundaries. So, the power of the no is really key for self-care. You have to be able to say no, and without apology.
And like Dr. Lori was saying, in her brilliance, just really understanding that need to identify with belonging and making that okay, even if others don't agree with you or don't accept it or support it, and really humanizing that kind of ethnographic, academia driven kind of approach that we're all taught to be part of. And we really do have to humanize that, and it begins with that belonging that we have for ourselves, and stepping back and saying, you might not agree with it. You might not agree that I'm not sending another email, but I've got to belong to me and take care of me too. So,
yep. Take the power back.
mm-hmm.
So we've only got 5 minutes left with you wonderful people. Can you believe it went by that fast? That went by fast, Kim.
So fun. Wow, what a great group.
We do have a great group. So I've got a couple of things I'm going to pop in that Google Doc. Kim, do you mind putting in chat one more time that link for everyone? So in case they didn't get a chance to copy and paste, they can now. And just make sure that you read that Google Doc and you do those 2 things. They're just 2 worksheets to look at. It is conscious leadership. It's going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into the triangle piece. So you're going to want to look at it. So I definitely, are you the kind of person, like, this is how I am too sometimes. You see a title of something, you're like, I could skip that, got that mastered. Let's go to the next one. So I encourage you not to skip it, but really to look at it. Okay. And really quick though, before we go, this is even more important. Is there anybody too that might want to button something up? Anybody want to say anything?
Lisa, can I read a couple of the chats here?
You better do it.
All right. So Luna says, waking up between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. is the time of night when the barrier between the physical and spiritual realm is the thinnest. This allows guides, spirits, and angels to seamlessly travel between the 2 worlds and come whisper in your ear. That's beautiful. And Joe, I wake up at 5:30 a.m. every morning for the sole purpose of personal care and absolute silence for 2 hours. Fantastic, Joe. Great,
good,
great.
Joe.
Thank you for sharing, y'all.
And I'm looking we really need you to do feedback for us, because JSPAC will not have us back if we are not if we have not done a really good job today, we will not be called on again. And we really want to be called on.
We want to be called on. And Tony said, when you rise above it, the drama that was is no longer drama to you. Okay, Tony, I'm gonna put that in a Canva and put your name right at the bottom of it. Okay.
Yeah, do it, and then we'll
I'm
tag
totally
me.
gonna do it.
So there's.
You guys got it. You've taken some of my stuff. I say, go for it. Do it.
I do. Okay, I put the link in there, everyone, for the feedback form. And you know what? I'll do even better. I'll pop it in the Google Doc as well. So then you'll remember to do it once you walk away from here. I think that's it. Does anybody have anything to say before we wrap today? We really appreciate everyone taking your time to join us. Hopefully you'll be here next week and we can get some things operationalized.
Maybe
So,
Tony will button it up for us. Put a little bow on it, Tony.
yeah, Tony, put a bow on
I'll
it.
put a little bow on it. First of all, I just want to say thank you all for just being in this space with us the entire time. I'm so excited about that. So, and being very transparent is you never know with sessions that you plan for the entire year, and JSPAC is pushing this humanity approach this whole year, and we'll continue to do that the fall 21-22 year. And I think so I'm just feeling so grateful. Here's the gratitude. I want to end it with, I'm feeling so grateful that 25 people are conscious, because you're here, conscious about the being themselves and wanting to be a better you. And that is basically what humanity is, as Lisa said, where we don't have to look at race, right? We don't have to call out, we call out the individual. So I'm going to say that the individual, not the race, not what type of learning disability you have, not, I could go on and on. What is your gender identity, or what you specific, your sexual orientation, all of that, which is something that is so embedded into our society of what we do. So to undo that, or I should say not undo, but to think differently, where our behavior no longer even thinks about that. Because I know I'm not there. I'm not there. I still categorize, I still classify, I still am working on that myself, the authentic me and evolving. So to close it, I'm going to close it with saying, I'm just so grateful that you're along with this journey with JSPAC in the humanity approach. I can tell you next year, I already know what the theme, and it's about humanity purpose. So everything will be around that, what our professional development will be for you. So come back, please come back to next week, because they are going to take you on another trip.
We sure are. Thank you,
It's going to
Tony.
be great. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you coming. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to just send us out with some music, everyone. And hopefully that'll put you all in the good headspace, because I feel like maybe you're being too hard on yourself right now. Give yourself some grace with conscious leadership, everybody, because we only live once. So let's enjoy this journey. Okay.
Have a
So we'll
great
see you
evening,
all next
everyone.
week. Bye, everybody.
Have a great evening.
I guess I should put on Kool and the Gang, because Kool and the Gang can really spice things up, Kim.
That's right. I know. I can sing along.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love some Kool and the Gang. Let's see, we got Celebrate. Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. That's better, Kim.
Yeah.
That was a better going out song, I think. Oh, I love it, man. Oh, it's good stuff. Kim, it's you, me, and Jackie.
Jackie says, thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Kim, you wanna? Oh, Kim, it's just you and me now.
It's just us.
Oh, I guess, do I stop recording?
Yeah.
Stop video. Oh no, that's stop video. Oh, maybe I did stop recording.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh nope, I'm still recording.
Here, let's stop. Stop recording.